Alright, Karina baby, for the 13th we have pears. Let's take a look. A pair of gloves, a pair of socks, a pair of shoes, and a cardboard box. The 2 armchairs, 2 little mice, 2 golden pears, twice as nice. Twins in a carriage, birds in a tree, a pair of rascals, you and me. See what's next in our book. We have the 3 golden apples. One day after school, Sam was doing some chores around his house when Sally called to him from next door. What was Hercules, Sam? Sam noticed that Sally had a pen in her hand and some paper in the other. Is that your homework you're doing? He asked. Come on, Sam, Sally cried. I don't want you to do my homework for me. Just help me a little? Okay, Sam answered, laughing. I'll be right over. A few moments later, Sally met Sam at the front door and invited him in. Sam was carrying a book with him. They sat in the living room, and Sam opened the book. Hercules was the strongest man in the world, according to the ancient Greeks. Here's a story about Hercules. Not only was he strong, he was smart. Listen to this. 3 golden apples. Here they are on the couch. Hercules. Hercules was a great hero, known for both his strength and his kindness. To return from the king of Greece promise not to harm his stepfather, Hercules became the king's slave for 99 months. The king did not like Hercules and gave him 12 dangerous labors to do. For one of the labors, Hercules was told to bring back the golden apple from the garden of the Hesperides. It was a dangerous mission because any mortal who picked one of the apples would immediately die. Hercules traveled to find the golden apples, and on his way, some nymphs told him that he should ask for help from Atlantis, the giant who held up the sky. The giant was as tall as a mountain, as vast was he that the clouds rested about his middle in a belt, and hung like a beard from his chin, and flittered before his huge eyes, so that he could not see Hercules. And most wonderful of all, the giant held up the great heads and appeared to support the sky, which, so far as Hercules could see, rested on his head. Just then the breeze blew away the clouds from the giant's face. Poor fellow! He had evidently stood there a long while. An ancient forest had begun growing and decaying around his feet. The oak trees, 6 or 7 centuries old, had sprung from the acorns and forced themselves between his toes. The giant now looked down from the far height of his great eyes, and seeing Hercules roar out in a voice that resembled thunder, "Who are you down at my feet there?" "I am Hercules," thundered back the hero, "and I am seeking the garden of Hesperides. I am Atlas, the mightiest giant in the world, and I hold up the sky upon my head." Look at him hold the sky upon his head. People had a lot of ideas back then, baby, where they came up with all these gods and goddesses. Athena was the god of love. Hercules had a lot of strength. He was a demigod. And here he is holding up the sky. "So I see," answered Hercules, "but can you show me the way to the garden of Hesperides?" "What do you want there?" asked the giant. "I want 3 of the golden apples," shouted Hercules, "for my master the king." There is nobody but myself, quoth the giant, that can go to the garden of Hesperides and gather the apples. But if it were not for the little business of holding up the sky, I would make half a dozen steps across the sea and get them for you. Is the sky very heavy? Hercules inquired. Why, not particularly so, at first, answered the giant, shrugging his shoulders. But it gets to be after 1,000 years. And how long a time? Asked the hero. Will it take you to get the golden apples? Oh, that will be done in a few moments, cried Atlantis. I will take 10 or 15 miles at a stride and be at the garden and be back again before your shoulders begin to ache. Well then, said Hercules, I will climb the mountain behind you there and relieve you of your burden. Without more words, the sky was shifted from the shoulders of Atlantis and placed upon those of Hercules, and Atlantis stepped into the sea. His first stride covered 10 miles. Hercules watched the giant as he went onward. It was a wonderful sight. But as the gigantic shape faded entirely out of view, Hercules realized that the weight of the sky was really a little irksome to his shoulders. I really pity the poor giant, thought Hercules. If it tires me so much in 10 minutes, how it must have tired him in 1,000 years. I know not how long it was before, to his unspeakable joy, he beheld the huge shape of the giant. At the approach, Atlantis held up his hand, in which Hercules could see their magnificent golden apples, as big as pumpkins, all hanging from one branch. I am glad to see you again, said Hercules. So you have the golden apples? Certainly, answered Atlantis. And very fair apples they are. I took the finest that grew on the tree, I assure you. There he is. You have had a pleasant ramble, and I heartily thank you for your trouble, said Hercules. And now, as I have a long way to go, and am rather in haste, will you be kind enough to take the sky off my shoulders again? I would really appreciate the favor. Why, as to that, said the giant, I have no fancy for burdening myself with the sky just now. Wait, shouted Hercules, do you intend to make me bear this burden forever? We will see about that on one of these days, answered the giant. At all events, you ought not to complain if you have to bear it the next 100 years, or perhaps the next 1,000. I bore it a good while longer, in spite of the backache. Well, then, after 1,000 years, if I happen to feel in the mood, we may possibly shift about again. You are certainly a very strong man, and can never have a better opportunity to prove it. Hercules, being as clever as he was strong, said to the giant, just take the sky upon your head 1 instant, will you? I want to make a cushion of my lion skin for the weight to rest on. It really chafes me, and will cause unnecessary inconvenience in so many centuries as I am to stand here. That's no more than fair, and I'll do it, said the giant. For just 5 minutes, then, I'll take back the sky. Only for 5 minutes, remember. I have no idea of spending another 1,000 years as I spent the last. Variety is the spice of life, I say. Ah, the thick-witted old rogue of a giant. He threw down the golden apples and recede back the sky from the head and shoulders of Hercules onto his own, where it rightly belonged. And Hercules picked up the 3 apples and set out on his journey homeward. And there stands the giant to this day, or at any rate, there stands a mountain, and as tall as he, which bears his name. And when the thunder rumbles, we may imagine it to be the voice of the giant Atlantis, bellowing after Hercules, who tricked him. Oh my. There he is, running with his golden apples that Atlantis got for him. There's Hercules. And there's Atlantis taking back his burden of the sky. Oh, that's it. So Hercules got his golden apples. Baby, let's do... Oh, say, oh, playmates, come out and play with me. And bring your dollies 3, climb up my apple tree, shout down my rain barrel, slide down my cellar door, and we'll be jolly friends forevermore, more. It was a sunny day, she could not go out to play. She said with tearful eyes, my dolly's got the flu. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I ain't got no rain barrel, I ain't got no cellar door, but we'll be jolly friends forevermore, more. Karina, baby, I love you and I miss you so much. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, love on yourself. Do things that you enjoy, whether that's cutting your own hair, just the dead ends off the bottoms, or taking a shower, or reading yourself books, or going out to watch a movie in the park, or whatever it is that you like to do. Going on a small hike somewhere, walking around a pond, being by the water, looking at the stars at night, whatever it is that you like to do. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you are counting your blessings. I hope that you're being content. I hope that you're being kind to yourself and others. I love you so incredibly much and I miss you. I will always love you.